Hello and good evening, wherever you are tuning in from. We are live here on Profile Pod TV. Welcome to another spectacular episode of the show. I'm your host, Andy Anatomical, and we are back for what's going to be a very interesting show because we're talking about a topic that is very near and dear to my heart. Very passionate about this particular subject topic. Before we get to our guests, we introduce our guest. I just want to check in with everybody. How's everybody doing? I want to thank you for being here. If you're here live, really thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching the replay or if you're listening to the replay, thank you so much. You know, and we have we do two versions of the show. We have the audio. Okay, we take the audio from this show, and then we post it on Spotify, um, Apple Podcasts, all the platforms, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, all what have you. And then we have our live show here on YouTube. So, speaking of YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to the show, subscribe to Profile Pod TV, support the cause here. We are trying to build this thing, and so we can continue to bring content week in, week out to entertain and engage. We want to bring individuals on who are, you know, spectacular, who are motivational, who are doing big things, who are inspirational. So if that's you, hit me up, DM me on Instagram, shoot me an email. The information is there at the bottom, and we'd love to have you. Okay, I was talking about this last week where if you're old enough to remember, that's incredible.
Oh yeah.
The show from the '80s. That's what I want to do. That's my goal to have a show that where we're bringing on people who are just doing super super cool stuff. And tonight is no exception to that. That's it. So don't forget to subscribe. Did I say that? I said that already. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, where we're under as 90s Galore. Okay, so you'll find us as 90s Galore on that platform. Leave us a review, 5 stars, all that good stuff. All right. Follow us on Instagram, Profile Pod TV at 90s Galore. That's 90s underscore GALORE. All right. So Uh, what else? Shout outs. Big shout outs. We love to do the shout outs here because there's people always showing us love, support, and we love to mention them and show our gratitude, our appreciation for that. Number one, Charlie Rocket. You guys are not familiar with Charlie Rocket. Charlie Javellet. This guy is a individual who has such a phenomenal story. He's from the Atlanta, city of Atlanta in the South. He was in the music business. He was a record executive. He brought up several artists. I believe Two Chains was one of them. Say the hip hop game, and then he had a brain tumor, and then so he had he had to quit the business, and just a great story. Ended up getting on a commercial with Nike, and then now he's doing this thing with the Dream Machine. He has basically touring the country and in his RV, and he has it all painted and decked out. You guys should check this out. Check out his Instagram at Charlie Rocket. He's actually going to be in LA this weekend on the tour, and he's just donating money. He's getting donors. He's getting resources to communities. He's basically making dreams come true. That's why he calls it the Dream Machine. So big shout out to him, and he showed me some support this week on Instagram. I appreciate that, Charlie. Also, Mr. Martin the Martian and Coco the Chihuahua. Thank you guys for showing us love. Yes, Coco is has her own Instagram, so check out Coco the Chihuahua and Martin the on Instagram. So thank you guys for showing us love and support. I've been going to the beach a lot. As you can see, I got my tan going. Not bad. It's just very hot in Southern California the past couple days, and one thing I do is go to the beach. So it's been fun, man. I took the kids out, and you know, just having fun with that. Before I forget, we got Bam Bam from General Podcast. Thank you so much for showing us support, as well as Andy G killing it. They were on the episode on the show last week, and we had a lot of fun. Just shooting the breeze, talking about a lot of different stuff, talking about RoboCop. So catch that episode on YouTube if you haven't checked it out, and I think you'll
Oh,
be pleased. It was very entertaining, at least for me it was. So, um, anyways, uh, we're gonna start doing. The last couple episodes we've had some technical difficulties. I want to apologize for that. I've addressed the issues. We got them all sorted out. I just moved into my new house, so as you can imagine, I'm getting everything, all the kinks out. New internet, new this, new that. So if you've ever moved, you know what type of things can pop up on you, and especially when you're doing something like this, like a podcast, or you got to get everything, you got to get settled in and all that fun stuff. So I want to apologize for all those technical difficulties, but I think we got them all sorted out here, and you know, getting we're in working order. So thank you guys for your patience on that. So tonight we're going to talk about
tonight.
real estate, man. And I love real estate because I think it's personally, I think it's the greatest investment vehicle. There's stocks, there's other, investment vehicles out there, you know, but real estate, man, they stopped making land a long time ago, right? And it's almost like you can't lose real estate. You just can't. I mean, depending on the area, they always say, location, location, location. But if you buy in a decent area, it's you can't lose over time. I just don't believe you can. You're gonna make money. And here to talk about all things real estate is my man Ray Rodriguez. He is out of San Bernardino County, Southern California, and Inland Empire. He services that area. He does a lot of business there, and he's going to answer all our questions. He's going to talk shop. We're going to find out a little bit more about Ray, and he's going to break it down. Bottom line. So we're going to pick his brain. Let's go ahead and welcome Mr. Ray Rodriguez to the show. Ray, how are you, sir? Thank you for being here.
What up? What up? Welcome. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Of course, man. I see you got that Laker plaque in the background. I love that.
Lakers, Raiders. Yeah, I got kicked out. I was gonna originally start it in my backyard. It's my little office now, but the kids are all swimming, so I went inside to the kitchen area of my other little office, and then Lorraine started doing her workout on the TV, so it was just too loud everywhere. So now I'm in the garage.
Oh, you
So
got kicked out?
yeah, now I'm in the garage doing this podcast. Hopefully, we don't hear too many cars or something drive by. I have the garage door open. But yeah,
Hey, no worries, man. We're pretty flexible, man.
cool. That's where I get to show off my little Laker thing right there.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, man. I like that.
Man,
What's going on, man? How's everything out in the IE today, bro?
it's hot. Life is good, brother. Life is good. I'm grateful. Family's healthy. Everybody's doing well, at least on our side. And other than being, stuck, can't really go to many places. Other than that, everything's great.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's good, man. It's good to hear that. I know, man. It's hot as hell today, and it just
Yeah,
there's no other way to put it, man.
that's right. So you see me start sweating here. No
Yeah,
worries.
exactly, exactly, man. So, man, you're here to talk real estate, man, and I bet you always get that question, bro. Uh, is it a good time to buy? You know,
Yeah, yeah. Is it a good time to buy? That's a great question. It's a very, very popular question. I get it all the time, and my answer is typically always the same, which is it's a great time to buy if you can afford to.
yeah,
When you can afford to get into real estate, that's the best time.
Yeah, no, no, of course, man. There's always yeah, you got to have and when you say that, I think you mean, you got to have a down payment, right?
Yep.
Uh correct me if I'm wrong, you know. And we'll get into all that, man. I think there's different programs, there's different you have options as a buyer.
That's right. That's right. You have options. There's different programs, especially for first-time home buyers, and so I can answer all those questions. But yeah, things are good, man. Life is great.
That's
How about
great.
you? New
Good.
house.
Oh man, I'm just busy as heck over here, man. I got I'm working from home. I got the kids here. This quarantine thing. It's crazy,
Yes,
man.
sir.
I can't complain though, man. I'm just settling into the new house and out here in Simi.
Moving is always fun, right?
Gee, oh man, this time I got movers, man. I wasn't. I'm not doing.
Hey,
I was
I
not doing.
remember you helped me move a TV once, didn't you? You helped
Yeah,
me move that TV up that two-story little that story little condo we lived in. We used to watch Laker games on that big old thing. Remember that?
oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, the little condo when me and Lorraine first started dating. Yeah, I
That's
remember I needed someone to help me. Andy, big Andy, let's go. Let's move to the big city.
you need some.
78. That's right. But we did it.
Yeah, that's right, man.
So good times.
Good times for sure, man. And so Ray, man, I like we're talking here, man, and we've known each other for a few years, or it's not a few now, a good
Jeez.
years now, man.
12, 13 at least.
And I've seen you. You've always had that entrepreneurial spirit, man. But I see that like now you've kind of found your niche, your home in real estate, in the business, as an agent. And what what can you what is it about real estate for you, bro? That the profession as an agent that you really enjoy, man. Because I know you've been there a few years now, as
Yeah,
an agent,
I
and
really enjoy real estate.
what is it?
Uh, well, I like the flexibility. I love the. More importantly, I like working with people. I enjoy helping people. I've always had that mindset of being able to help others will help myself. So I've usually found different products to try and share with people in order to help them, whether it be coffee or and now it's real estate. And I've always been into real estate as well. I always thought it was a great investment opportunity. In 2008 and 2009, if you remember, Ruben Ruben and myself were investing in properties and flipping them, fixing them up and flipping them, and we had some decent success with that. And I just enjoyed it. I enjoyed the whole rehab of the house, just being able to kind of bring it back to life and then turn around and sell it and make some money. So
Definitely, yeah, yeah,
that
man.
was
Go ahead, go
I
ahead.
was gonna I was gonna say that was kind of how I got started in it. As far as professionally, I wasn't an agent at that time. It was just more of investment, and then I was one of those things where like, yeah, I want to get my real estate license. Yeah, I want to get my license, and it just never really got to it. I was already out of school mode, didn't feel
Yeah,
like sitting down and doing studying and all that. But something, along the line happened where I just things fell in place. That I had somebody reach out and was like, hey, I'm helping people get into real estate. And would you be interested in joining our class? And I was like, you know what? Yeah, why not? And things fell in line, and then I got my license. And
and
now it's been a few years.
when did you get your license, Ray?
I want to say it was 2018. Yeah, 2018. The beginning of 2018.
Oh wow, okay. So you've but like you said, you've had some background. You were flipping homes years back.
Yeah,
It's not like you got into the game and you had no clue what the heck was going on. You weren't like you weren't brand new, super green. Uh, you had background. You've had
yeah. We've been I've been dealing with it, and I've purchased my own home back in then, and we've had rental houses, and so I just felt truthfully, I I had my brother-in-law was an agent. My mom's an agent. I think you had a license at one time. I mean, everybody had a had a license, so
Yeah.
there's really no need. I just had someone help me with the transaction, but uh, yeah, I figured it was time to get my own license and be able to kind of take on a new venture with. My goal is to help train new agents get into real estate and have an office and property management. Help clients maintain their investments and stuff like that.
Awesome, man. Awesome. And right now, you're working with Empire Estates. Is that
Empire
correct?
States. Yeah.
Say
It's right
again.
here in Empire with an M. Boom. Empire
There it is.
States. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a buddy of mine, a friend of mine, if you want to say, he started an office. He got his brokerage, started an office, Empire States. Same concepts and beliefs that I follow as far as like, just training, learning, helping new agents, become successful. Kind of the rule of abundance. There's enough for everybody. Let's just all go get it. And so I've been working with that office for a little while now, and I love it. It's great.
And that office is in Rancho Cucamonga, correct?
Yeah, right off in Rancho, right down Haven by the 10.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it's a little office that it's actually a bigger office that we have available when needed.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
And basically, your coverage areas, I mean, anywhere in Inland Empire, or do you kind of have set your own limits, parameters for yourself, or it doesn't matter. You'll go anywhere.
Yeah, in real estate, you can pretty much. I'm licensed to sell real estate in the whole state of California.
Right.
However, I do stay within my territory. If you want to say San Bernardino area, Inland Empire. I focus Fontana, Rialto, San Bernardino.
Okay.
Well, that's kind of the niche area that I have. But I've sold in Covina, Orange County, so it doesn't really matter.
Okay. Yeah, that's your wheelhouse there, huh?
Yeah, I just have a lot of clients that are local to this area, and you know, right here, Fontana, Rancho Cucamonga is a medium income type area.
Mhm.
You can get in for under half a million, between 350 to 500,000, find you a house somewhere in that area, and a little bit more in this area of Rancho. But yeah, that's kind of the where I've found my niche so far,
For sure, man.
helping clients.
And that's a great area, man. I mean, even you always hear about California being so expensive, and so unaffordable. But right now, I think, like you said, in that area, man, that you can find really good deals right now. Am I mistaken there? It sounds like
No, no, there's the market is booming right now. It's definitely booming. The deals are there. People are looking to get rid of homes. People are looking to get into homes. There's a lot of movement going on, so it's a good time.
yeah,
Definitely.
for sure, Ray. And Ray, what I'm hearing, a lot of people are leaving California at the moment. They're going, they're whatever, Texas,
Arizona.
Arizona. Yeah, a lot of there's a little exodus going on right now. Is that good for a buyer? Um, does that create opportunity for buyers, or how does that affect the market and people wanting to purchase?
Well, it definitely opens up the market for buyers. There's going to be inventory available.
Yeah.
There's actually a lot of inventory. People are definitely moving out of state, just upgrading. Money is so cheap right now that people are able to take on, more of a home for the same payment, if not maybe a little less, and pretty much the same if they were going up. But yeah, there's inventory, which allows the buyers to have a little bit more options.
Oh, I see, man.
Hmm.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah, like you said, it would create inventory.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, so yeah, it's a great time, right? So right now, I think we would probably say, it's a great time to buy.
It's a good
Like,
time. Hmm.
uh-huh. Provided that like you mentioned earlier, provided that you have the means to buy, a nice down payment and what have you. So that's critical,
Yeah.
right?
So I get a lot of people asking me, hey, what do I need to buy a house? Like, where do I start? It all starts with making the decision. Yes, this is what I want to do. I want to buy a house. then you're going to need to save some money. So you're going to have some money put aside for a down payment. Now, the programs that are out there for people on their first time buying a home is called an FHA loan. And the great thing about that is this loan only requires the buyer to have 3.5% of the purchase price. So instead of a traditional 20% down or even 10% or 5% in some cases, now it's as little as 3.5%. And now that's just the down payment. So there's also what's called closing cost fees that people don't always realize are involved. That is also typically around 3% of the price of the home.
Mm,
So now the great thing is if you have a good realtor like myself, I can negotiate for you.
right, right.
And what we do is we end up asking the sellers or the loan to cover as much of the closing costs as possible, and that allows the buyer to come in with as little as down.
Absolutely. And
So
typically, sellers are cooperative, right? They're typically sellers will give you 5 grand, 10 grand, depending on the size of the loan or
yeah,
of the selling price.
I
You
would
know,
say, well, about 2 months ago, you were pretty much able to ask for closing costs 2, 3 months ago, right? Right around the time everything started, and even a month after, people were willing to pay closing costs. It was kind of expected that you were going to get asked to have the closing costs, or at least a percentage of them covered. Uh, Now, to be honest, there are some people that they're making offers that are more aggressive. They're not asking for as much closing costs. They're not having as much requirements for length of time.
uh-huh.
Contingencies is what they call them. So it's kind of like if you like the house, you got to bring your best, offer. And if someone can come in with asking for half the closing costs, and someone else coming for and they want all the closing costs, which one you think the buyers are going to want to go with. So it's just finding that good medium point where the comfortable point of how much you can afford, how much payment you have, and then how much the fees will cost.
Right, right. And everybody's situation is different, right? I mean, no two scenarios are the same, right? I think everybody has their own unique. Everybody's got different credit. Everybody has different income.
Yeah,
So, so yeah, I think so that
yeah,
that
you're
obviously that adds into it. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's really the starting point for everybody is figuring out how much you can afford based on how much money you have saved, and your credit. Now, credit is straightforward. 640 is the credit score they look for. 640 or higher. They did get to a point where they bumped it to 680, and for 1 week they had it at 700. One of the banks moved their requirement to a 700 FICO score. Why? Because money was so cheap that everybody was trying to get it.
Wow.
So but they actually brought that back down to 640 now. So
Okay.
you're going to find that if you have a 640 FICO score, then you'll be able to qualify for the FHA program.
Okay. Hey, Ray, we start talking about credit and bad credit, especially. I was in the game back in like 04, 05 as doing loans. And
Yeah,
I think everybody. I don't know if you weren't doing loans at that time. I don't know. I
I
think
was doing
everybody.
loans, I think. Yeah, remember I think so.
Weren't you? Were you at AmeriQuest too?
Yeah, I don't know if it was AmeriQuest, but it was one of those offices over here in Rancho, and yeah, I remember you were a notary for one of my loan, my dad's loan. Yeah,
Oh my
boy.
gosh! Yeah,
Yeah,
I was immersed in that game. I love that industry. I love that business.
yeah,
Honestly, it's one of the professional regrets I have as a professional. But I was thinking like at AmeriQuest, man, if you had a pulse, you could
yeah. They
probably
gave you money.
you get yeah. I know, but seriously, they were giving people like 500, 550 credit scores, 580s.
Yeah,
They were calling that, what was that? They had a term for that.
predatory
Deep
lending.
paper.
Oh,
Yeah, you know what? They were doing 228s with 3-year prepayment penalties.
yeah, crazy.
Oh, But you know, I can't. I'm not hating on that. I used to love that's the most fun I've ever had at any job, man. I'm gonna be honest. Besides this, uh,
Yeah,
doing working at Ameriquest was so much fun, man. We used to make boatloads of money and just screw around all day in the office, man. As long as you were
yeah,
selling booking loans, they didn't give a shit. What you know, it was a great environment, fun culture, man. Anyways,
yeah. That's fun. That was good times then. But it's a good segue because a lot of people ask me, "Well, hey Ray, what's going on? Is the market going to crash like in 2008 and 2009?" And it's like, do I really have the answer? I don't have the answer is probably not based on the things that are happening now versus what was happening then. Like you said, back then they were giving loans and giving multi-million-dollar houses to just anybody because their payment was so low. But in 5 years or 10 years, it was going to change, adjustable rates, and so the market was hit really bad because of bad loans, and so that's why there was so many forced foreclosures and people losing
yeah,
their house because the bank had no choice but to kick them out. They couldn't afford it. Period. The difference now is that uh, people aren't in bad loans. They were the way they were in those days. They're actually, in most cases, I would assume a lot of people who've owned their home for at least 5, 10 years have equity available. So they're not in a position where even if they're not working right now or if they lost their job, uh, the number of foreclosures are still there, but not as high. And a lot of these banks are letting people what's called do a deferment. So they'll let them skip a few months of payments, and then they tack it on at the end. That's how you should do it. Be careful because there's some banks that will do a deferment and then they won't tell you, but you have to pay the full amount of the deferment at
yeah,
6 months down the road. And if you don't, it goes into a lien, and then you start to lose your property. So,
yep. I've heard that.
those things happen, but they're not going to happen to the point where it'll bring the market down the way it did in 2008, like crashing down. I think we're all seeing it started to come down a little bit, prices of homes. But the fact that the government is giving money away for so low, interest rates are so low, uh, they can't really come down too far
Right.
because the people have money, and then it's a matter of demand, supply and demand. Now people have money. I like your house. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to pay more than this guy. And
Right.
so
Right.
it goes back to that.
For sure. For sure. You know, and going back to the convention. So basically, the products. You know, you mentioned there's FHA. Uh,
Hmm.
there's when would somebody want to go, for example, conventional versus FHA? You know, what are the disadvantages and advantages between the two? You know,
Uh, the advantage, there's really more advantage out of FHA than any disadvantage. The advantage is you have a lower payment, a down payment. A conventional loan, you're going to need a 20% in some cases down, or 5% in some cases. But really, the difference is with an FHA loan, it's called a first time home buyer loan. The bank's going to require that loan to have what's called mortgage insurance, so PMI. So they're going to attach the property taxes and insurance to the loan. So now your payment's going to go up by 600-700 bucks, um, automatically. Then that's something you incorporate into it when you're qualifying. However, as a conventional loan, you still have to pay the taxes and insurance, but you won't have it attached to your loan, to your payment each month. So technically your payment will be lower. And
uh,
some people like that ability. They like the ability to, not have to pay the taxes and insurance in their payment.
right.
So
Some people do that. Impounds, right?
yeah, the impounds, and that's really what the difference is with the FHA. They require you to have almost 6 months reserves in some cases, paying the interest ahead of time. The I'm sorry, the taxes, the
Uh-huh.
property taxes ahead of time, so that you're ahead versus being behind. So
Right.
little things like that, but if you can get FHA, that's the way to go. The problem are really the determining factors. If you've already owned a home, like if ourselves, both of us own a home already, we really wouldn't qualify for an FHA loan traditionally. you know um, I'm sure there's ways around that, but we won't talk about that.
You know, but so FHA is basically reserved for first time buyers.
Yeah, it's basically the reserved for a first time buyer, giving someone an opportunity, not an investor, not a big bank, not someone who's just buying a multiple properties. It's giving them the ability to move into a house or to purchase a house with as little as 3.5%.
Gotcha. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
then with FHA, you have to pay the taxes and insurance with the payment with the
With your
mortgage.
payment. Yeah, correct.
You don't have that option to not do it, right?
Not initially. You can actually refinance it after 6 months or so, and then you can move into a traditional, conventional loan, streamline loan, they call it, and then eliminate those. But usually, if it's your first house, you probably want to have those things included in your payment. That way, you don't fall short when the time comes. Life happens, and if something occurs, and all of a sudden, oh, we don't have money for the taxes, now you're starting from behind. So it's not
Gotcha,
it's not a bad thing to have it included in your payment.
gotcha. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking to Ray Rodriguez out of Empire Real Estate in Rancho Cucamonga, real estate agent extraordinaire. He's breaking it all down for us. Ray, what about when a lot of people are, what would you say to somebody who they've been renting, and you know, they're not sure about taking the leap of faith into ownership. You know,
Sure.
what are some pros and cons? Well, I don't know if there's any cons. Uh, what would you say to someone who's kind of a little hesitant still about getting into ownership as opposed to renting?
Sure. Again, everyone's situation's different, right? If you're talking to a family, someone who who has a family, and you want them, you can show them the benefits of the privacy, the tax write-offs, the equity that you build with your home. So paying rent, and right now, uh, I mean, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom condo is going to cost you about $1,500 and maybe more in some cases.
Yeah,
You know, and I mean, I know some houses around here rent for like 3 grand almost. It's like,
yeah,
man, that's crazy, because the mortgage payment is probably less. And so that's really where the value comes in. Now you can, instead of paying a monthly mortgage payment for someone else by paying the rent, you can actually do it for yourself, build that equity. um,
yeah.
and there are ways, if you're talking to someone who's in their early days and they're starting off, maybe they have roommates right now. Those are the best ones, people who have roommates. Help them buy a house, and it could be a 2 3 bedroom home. Probably 3 or 4 bedroom home would be ideal, and then you rent out the other 2 rooms. I mean, I know, I rented a house. I rented a room for my buddies for years. We went a condo, and then went to a house and another house, and I was paying my $500 $700 a month, and part of the bills, and my buddy was just paying the mortgage and getting the equity. So that's definitely the best way to go about it. And I can definitely help people get into that type of situation. But real
Yeah.
estate is definitely a way you can create what's called cash flow.
Mhm. Absolutely, man. You know, I thought I like that concept, Ray. And by the way, I posted that. I reposted your post on
Yeah,
Instagram, and people were like, "Wow, that's a great idea." I was getting a lot of response about,
yeah,
"Hey, man, yeah, a lot of people were loving that idea." And I like that concept too, Ray, as far as in a slightly different way, where purchasing like a 4 unit,
hmm
um, you know, a 4 unit dwelling. You live in one, and then the other three you
rent
rent
out.
out, and you're again you're getting cash flow there every month.
Yeah,
They're paying your their rent and basically paying your mortgage for the entire 4 unit dwelling.
that's right.
So
That's right.
right,
Yeah, I definitely agree. Look, if you can move, ideally, you would want to buy multi-units, 4 units and up. That's where you want to go. Uh, there's some people that I talk to where we just don't believe in purchasing or a residential home for themselves, they should buy multiple units. Like you said, live in one if need be, and rent out the other three, or in some cases, rent out all three, four of them, and just rent somewhere else where you want to live, and and pay cheaper because you're paying the mortgage on your units.
Yeah.
Investments is definitely the key. I've gotten into that. I have a couple units now, Lorraine. I have picked up along the way. I'm looking at, my next goal is to get into like the 10 unit. I have a few 10 unit properties I'm looking at. I have a couple clients that I'm trying to help them get into some units. So I'm now showing my clients and my friends and family like how to invest in multi-unit properties, because
Mhm.
people will always need a place to live. They're always going to need somewhere to, a room to rent, if you want to say. And nowadays, the government actually pays the rent for the people. And so if you get into the right programs, you get rent paid through the government programs, and then, they're living in it.
Wow, man,
So,
that's awesome, man. Yeah, yeah. I'm definitely gonna talk to you about that, man, here in the future. Yeah, there's got like you said, and the government, man, they're never late on their payments. You
yeah,
know,
they make their payment.
they'll
So,
make. Yeah, man, that's awesome. So there's a lot of man. There's so much opportunity. That's why I love real estate, man. You can get so creative, right, Ray? I mean,
yeah.
uh, you know, it's all. I love it, man. I love it. It's just.
Yeah, you can make a lot of money in real estate. You can do
Mhm.
things if you do it right. You can lose money in real estate too,
Yeah,
because not all deals are good deals. And that's really what I've been training myself on, is trying to recognize and calculate, what's a good deal versus just a deal. And there's things that I picked up, numbers, formulas, if you want to say, that help to recognize when something is considered a good deal. So,
yeah.
but yeah, units, whether it be units or even like you said in rooms, if it's a college age kid or someone who first home. Because I have a cousin who he just bought his house maybe a year or so ago, rented out some rooms, and then he decided to rent that property out to a family, and he ended up buying another home. So,
Wow.
that's what
Wow.
you can do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's great, man. And then when you start getting into those investment opportunities, so you had, let's say in that scenario, so your cousin had a primary residence, right?
Correct.
Which was it a single family residence
Yeah, he
home?
bought it single family residence, first home, so it was FHA loan. He bought it. He, like I said, he rented out a few rooms, and he's a firefighter, so he lived in it when he was off duty. And point being is he just was there, and he rented out the rooms, and then I believe he got to a point where he had enough money saved that he figured it would be good to get into another home and then just rent that whole property out to one family. And so now the family pays the rent, the full mortgage or whatnot, and he's on to his next one. So
Yeah, that's awesome, man. No,
yeah,
and that scenario, Ray, like when you when he goes to buy his next home, when he rented it out to the family. No, he turned around and bought something else.
right.
Does does the down payment, you know,
Goes up.
those
Yeah,
the requirements
yeah,
still
yeah.
they still
He's
they
not going to be able to get an FHA loan, so he'll have
okay.
to qualify for a conventional loan. Yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha. So that's
Mm,
generally 20%.
yeah, basically more money down. hmm
Yeah,
So and then you have more, you have tax benefits and write-offs, and there's
yeah.
but there's more money down initially. That's what's required on your second and third investment. Yeah.
Now, on those types of scenarios, Ray, when you start getting into buying multiple properties, would you advise one to set up a corporation? Is it safer to do it that way and start buying the? Is it possible to buy properties under the corporation?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right.
You definitely want to set up like a corporation or at least a living trust if you have a family. You definitely want to protect yourself. In essence, what that's going to do is that's going to protect your property from being attacked if someone wants to sue you. It's in essence, it's going to take everything under your name away. So now when they say, hey, I'm going after Andy for all you have because you hit my car, they're gonna look you up, and Andy doesn't own anything. Andy doesn't own it. Andy's trust owns it, and you
Gotcha.
can't go after the trust or the corporation.
Mm,
So that's kind of how it protects you in that sense.
right, right. Now, can you buy your own home, like your primary residence under a corporation?
Yeah, you can buy it as you can
Under a
qualify
trust?
as a from yeah, and you can put it in your own corporation or buy it as under a trust name, absolutely. Or you can, if you already own a home, you can transfer it over, change it over to the trust.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay.
But yeah, ideally, when you start getting into multi properties, multi units, you want to do that. You want to protect yourself.
Definitely, definitely, man. That's good to remember, man. Yeah, it's so Ray, man, you've been doing this now a couple years, man, and are you still? How are you going about generating clientele, or in general, man? What's the best way for a obviously, man, you want to do a good job for the client because they're gonna you're gonna ask for a referral. You want
Yeah,
referrals. That's how you generate. That's one way of generating business.
right.
What other ways, man, are you generating business, or can a good real estate agent generate business?
Yeah, sure. So there's actually a lot of ways to do it. Traditionally, a new agent would come in and they would first hit their warm market. Just tell everybody and anybody they know, look, I'm an agent. Any who do you know that wants to buy or sell a house? That will only really take you so far because typically, like in my situation, that didn't really do me too well to go through all my family because everybody was already agents, or they already had their agents, and so I tended to I focused more on generating new leads. Uh, the traditional way was you would go door knocking. They'd call it farming. So
Right.
you'd pick an area and you'd go walk around the area and knock on the door and introduce yourself to people and say, hey, interested in buying or selling your house. Or there's a little tactics you can use, like, hey, my client is looking for a house just like yours, and if I could find someone to buy your house, would you be interested in selling? And then but truthfully, I never did that. I never did that. The other ways is really now is online, advertising. You could actually buy leads, but a lot of what you're doing is just buying leads that came from someone else's advertising. So what I tend to do right now is I have an online advertising program that I have, that I pay for each month, and it provides me with leads based off of people looking for homes. I focus on buyers. So when someone's on Facebook or Instagram and they see an ad saying, "Hey, you want to, get a list of homes that are available in Fontana or wherever," and they look it up, and then I get their information and I follow up and just send them information, just keep in contact. um, it's a
Yeah.
cold lead. Don't get me wrong. It's not someone who's warm like a family member. So you have to provide them value. So I have a full automated campaign that I've set up now where people get. I just enter them into my CMR, my database, and they start getting dripped emails. Talking about how to buy a house, different things to look for, and all the while, I'm just trying to provide them with information. So when the timing's right, they'll say, "Hey, it's time to find a realtor. Let's call that guy Ray," and
Right.
they'll see my emails throughout their in their inboxes. And it's important to be online nowadays because everybody's looking online. You can't really go out and door knock the way you
Yeah.
used to. You probably scare people. Probably call the contact police on you or something. Um,
Right.
so
Right.
so yeah, online's the way to go, virtual.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what I did.
Gotcha, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I was gonna say, man, you're not pounding the pavement, as much anymore.
Nah,
As you used to.
nah, not really. Not like in the old days where you'd walk around and you'd go to high traffic areas, pass out cards. All that stuff is good, but it's just been all put on hold. Maybe in March, February, March, it was like, yeah, let's go. to the mall, or let's go walk and introduce ourselves and go to different offices. And so, but
Yeah,
you can't really do that now. So you're left with just online.
yeah.
Uh, and thankfully, what I did was I took advantage of the time I had in March when they closed us all down
Mhm.
initially, and I just started creating my online campaign, my website, my emails, my my drip set campaign, and now everything is automated, so I have more time to just focus on my clients
There you go.
and finding them good deals.
Nice, man. I like that. I like that you got it all set it up, automated, like you said, man. Now you can focus on servicing and
Yep.
cultivating relationships and face to face. Uh, Ray, man, now we have this whole COVID thing, like you've already mentioned here. How is the COVID thing? You know, how's that affected as far as being able to even show property? Do you have to wear? Obviously, I would masks. You got to wear the mask, gloves. Um,
Yeah.
how has that affected everything for you, man?
Well, on from the standpoint of business, it slowed things down initially, but then it started to pick up, and I think it's all intertwined with the Federal Reserve interest rates, being so low. So there's actually more people out there who are essential, meaning they have a job and still and they're working. I have clients who are truckers. I have a client who's a nurse. Clients who work in the healthcare industry, and so those are kind of the people right now, the ones who have that steady job, who aren't in fear that they're going to be, you know, taken their job taken away. Those
Right.
are the people that are tend to be out there right now looking for homes. And then as far as when it comes to a home to show them, the industry, they created a new regulation where I have to fill out a form ahead of time, um, and show that I am aware. We have to wear a mask. They want you to wear gloves and booties. They
Yeah.
want you to not touch too many things and have only two people at a time, that you bring in with you. So,
Okay.
and a lot of the homes that have people in them, they're not vacant homes. They're people who are owner occupied, wanting to sell. A lot of them are just doing virtual. They're not even letting people in the house, or
Oh
maybe
wow.
only doing once on the weekend during a certain time. So people are getting used to not being able to go just look at houses the way we used to.
Right.
Before it was like, let's go look at houses. We'd line up 4 or 5 homes, 6 homes, and we just go hit them all up. Now, we have to be a little bit more careful on they want us to, we don't have as many to go see, but a lot of them are online too. So, but
Oh.
there's really nothing like walking the house, being
No.
able to get out, walk around, see it,
Get a feel
feel
for
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you had any or seen any? I'm sure you've seen purchases being made with the client doesn't even visit the home physically. It's all virtual.
Uh, they they start you off that way, but traditionally what'll happen is you'll get to do what's called an inspection. And so a lot of times people will go, they'll go to the inspection, and the inspector will go through. And when you're buying a home, you want to have it inspected, just like anything, especially, when you're buying a car. If you could take your mechanic with you when you bought a used car, you would, right? You would have him inspect it and tell you everything that's wrong with it. Same thing with the house. They have inspectors go out and just tell you kind of what's wrong from top to bottom. And then you're able to make your decision on whether you want to buy the house or not, and or if you want to negotiate, based on what needs to be fixed. So they are able to people still get to go to the inspections, and they still go see the house. Um, but we don't have to meet as much. A lot of it is, like you said, it's online. Paperwork gets done online.
Mhm.
Everything gets emailed out, and so it's
Yeah,
taken that personal relationship away a little bit. We don't get to sit down together as much, but as long as we communicate, communication is the key.
for sure. Yeah, with the purchase I just had, I never even got to meet the loan officer.
Oh,
You
really?
know, everything was over the phone and online. Emails and what have you.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I thought that was kind of interesting. But um, what about your going through the gosh, I lost my train of thought. Really. Oh, and you have your preferred lenders, right? You got your go-to lenders that you work with.
Yeah, yeah. I got lenders that I work with, a couple guys that are in that have access to basically the wholesale lending. The banks that are not they're your big banks. They have access to programs that your Wells Fargo, your Bank of America, those banks aren't going to offer. Um, and it's a little bit more personal because you can talk to the guy. He understands your scenario. The loan officer is the one who's basically going to go to bat for you and say this person deserves to have a loan, like they qualify. He's got to put that package together. So you want to be able to let the lender know like who you are and your whole scenario. It's not just a cookie cutter. Everyone's scenarios are different.
Right.
Their incomes are different, and so it's good to be able to have a lender you can personally work with. That way, you have the best chance of getting the best deal, the best interest rate, and the most money.
For sure, man. For sure. I remember you were just off. Something came to mind right now. On one of your posts on Instagram, there was you were telling a story about how you were you were in a home and gosh, you're gonna have to refresh my memory. But the client came up to the door and was telling you that his agent wasn't showing him any property,
Oh yeah,
and then he ended up getting a new agent that day, and
yeah,
which was
yeah.
yourself.
That's
Um,
another. That's actually another tool you
activity,
can
right?
use. Activity, yeah, as an agent. If you're an agent and you don't have anybody you're working with, you can just go out and look at homes by yourself if you needed to. That's what I tell some of the new agents I work with. Just go out and look at a home, open it up, and you'll be surprised. People will stop. And there's been more than once that I've taken someone to a home, opened it up. Maybe I got there early before them, and I opened it up and then someone pulls up and like, hey, can I check it out? And it's like, yeah, of course. So in that scenario, yeah, the guy said that the agent was like, he wasn't available. The guy came all the way from LA to San Bernardino to see a house. Matter of
Wow.
fact, he came out there to see it, knowing that the agent wasn't going to be able to show it to him. They just wanted to waste some time, I guess. And when you're looking for a home and you find one online, you're like, man, let's go check it out. You want to drive by it,
Yeah.
just peek over the fence or something. And so that's kind of what they planned on doing, but they happened to see me walking in, and uh, and so I got their information, and I'm working with them. They ended up, you know, taking them from the other agent. But it's just service. People want to make sure, like if you say you're going to do something, do it. Be available, as much as you can for them. Um, just let them know that you're there to help them.
Yeah. No, of course, man. That's a great story, man. Yeah, and that type of stuff happens when you're
Yeah,
working, you're active, like you said, man. You're out there grinding, doing what you need to do, and those opportunities come up on you, man. And that's nice. That's nothing wrong
yeah,
with
it's
that,
great.
right?
That's
Um,
right.
right. So what you mentioned you work with new agents, man, and I think real estate agent being a real estate is a great career for someone. What are some things that somebody who's aspiring to become a real estate agent, uh, someone who's interested in becoming an agent, a young guy or woman, what would you tell them, man? What are some things that they need to do to prepare themselves to really, if they're going to take it seriously, what are some of the things that they must have? And number two, what are some things they got? Where do they start? To
Right on.
process.
Well, I think where do they start is number one. Find someone that you can work with, because there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot. Real estate is very technical. There's a lot of legal aspects involved, and you don't want to get yourself in any trouble. So you want to make sure you're able to work or rely on with someone who will help you, answer your questions and guide you down the right path when the time comes. Um, and then from there, really, it's just to get your license. It's pretty simple. You start with your online courses. There's 3 courses you got to take before you can apply for your test, and you can do that online with pretty much any of these online courses. There's not one
Oh,
any better than the other. But once you get your 3 courses done, they'll allow you to print out a certificate for each of them, and then what you do is you'll take those 3 certificates and you'll send that with a application to the state board, and with your fees, and then once the state board receives it, they'll notify you, say, hey, you've been approved to take your test. Go ahead and schedule your test.
and
Uh,
the fees are critical, right?
yeah,
Never
the fees are
forget the
important.
fees.
Yeah, you got to pay for the fee, the test.
Uh,
You got to pay for the 3 courses, of course. It's a couple
yeah,
$100. You got to pay a licensing fee, like to take the test is a couple $100. Fingerprinting, is another $100 or so. But um, you're looking at about a $600 investment to start. From with the courses, and then and then paying for to take your test. Now things are a little different right now because they're not allowing people to schedule tests, but you can still take your online courses and get that out of the way, and then be ready so that when they are allowing people to schedule tests again, you just get in line to take your test
oh wow,
and
it
sign up, because it's going to be a waiting. There's people waiting to take their test right now. So, and they're already what, a month, 2 months behind because they've been closed. So you can imagine, it's going to start to snowball where the test dates are going to go further and further out. Um, but once you take your test and you pass, you get your license. Once you get your license, you're pretty much left to just go make it happen. So
right,
that's
right,
why it's important to work with a good group of people that they can train you on the little things that we talked about, and just being in a supportive environment and office that will keep you on track. If someone's going to look to get into real estate, it's not something that it's not like a job that you just like, I'm going to go get a job in, working over here and start next week. You gotta, it takes some time, some planning, as far as once you get your license, you can start, talking to people and building a lead, ahead of time. But even once you get the license, it's going to take, even if you had a client like ready to go, like, okay, Ray, I got my license, let's go. It's going to take you
yeah,
30 to 45 days just till you get them into a house and get paid.
right,
So most agents will not sell a home with their first year. Usually it will take them a year or two just to get 1 or 2 transactions.
gotcha,
Um, and so you can see there's a lot of people, a lot of agents who, they do it part time. That's also a good thing. It's nothing wrong with starting part time. That's what I did. I started part time, as far
yeah,
as when I was selling, and then just kept building my database, my leads, and got to a point where I was able to take it on full time. So, definitely, if someone's looking to get started in real estate, get started, do the test, let people know that you're looking to get into it, and then get with the right office.
right. And that, it's how do you know? So yeah, you have all these different companies and stuff, and how do you know? How to find the right fit for you. Again,
Yeah,
you have
what you're
different
gonna want to
places.
do. That's an awesome question too, because I didn't really know either. Uh, when I first started, I was like, usually you go with someone but even that's not always the best choice.
Yeah,
What happens is, if you don't know anyone, all the offices are going to offer you a compensation plan. They're going to say, we'll pay you 70%, 80%. Usually, typically, it's about an 80% cut, that the office will give you. What that means is, in the state of California, to sell a house, you have to have a broker's license. So,
right.
as a broker, you could sell a home and make the commission. But as a real estate agent like myself, I'm not actually able to sell the house on my own. I need a broker to sell it. So I'm representing the broker, and the broker is who's actually paying my commission to me. The seller is the one who pays the commission to the broker, and then the broker pays the agent. So um,
Gotcha.
the broker will end up saying, hey, you know what, I'm gonna give you 80% and I'll keep 20. And then the more deals you do, you'll move up to 85, 90, 95, and eventually maybe into a like 100% contract. Usually when you're at 100% contract, you're working in an office where, kind of like myself, I don't, I have questions here and there, do everything on my own. Um, you're pretty much self-independent, you know, but
Yeah.
ideally, once you get to a certain point, like myself, I'm getting to a point where now I want to start working on, you know, working towards a broker's license, because now I feel a little bit more seasoned. Now I have experience. Now I know how to get leads. I know how to manage leads, and I know how to find investment properties and how to determine, cap rates and all that stuff. So now I feel like I can pass that knowledge on to
Right.
someone, and then build a team.
For
Always been
sure.
about building teams. So
Yeah. Finding good people and
yeah,
yeah,
you're helping them out get started, and basically a broker is going to get a cut of the agents. So when they
of course.
sell, I'll make a little bit, and that's how it works.
Right. Right. So yeah, mentorship is huge in the game, huh? Starting out, mentorship, having a good team, a good positive environment,
Right, right,
someone. Yeah.
absolutely. So a
Right.
lot of
Right.
the big, what happened is you find a lot of the big offices, the big names, Century 21s, Remax, all those big offices, they'll offer plenty of training. They offer a lot of perks, because they'll have groups, but sometimes the pay isn't as much, or sometimes, they have a lot of fees involved, little fees,
Yeah.
desk fee, paper fee, notary fee, like everything is a fee. And so, you pay for what you get in some cases, and then sometimes if you go to an office where there's, hey, we don't have any fees, there's no desk fees or nothing, just pay a small percentage of the per transaction. The great thing about that is you don't have all these fees, but then you might not have all the support, you might not have the training,
Right.
you might not have a broker who comes in and actually does training with you. You're just left to kind of make it happen. So it depends
Yeah.
on where you're at and where you're comfortable. But finding that good middle ground, especially in the beginning, that's the key.
Definitely, man. Definitely, man. Yeah. Yeah. It's like I said, it's a heck of a career for someone who you got to have the intangibles, right? You got to be
Yeah, you
motivated,
mentioned that. It's
disciplined.
not a job
Not
for,
easy.
someone who needs direction. Like to a
Yeah.
certain point. You got to get up and do it on your own. You got to hustle. Um, you know, the great thing about this, career or this industry is you make your own hours. You set your own pace. Um, I don't really have a boss. Except for Lorraine. You know, um,
The
I
wife.
Yeah, right. I do what I need to do to make it happen. Um, but people think, oh well, you don't have a boss, or at least I don't have a job I have to go to every day. But the truth is, I work every day. Like I'm
Yeah.
always working. Like it's almost like by not having a place to go work, like a job, an office or something, like a traditional 9 to 5, you end up working more because
Yeah.
I work in the morning and I'll do this and I work some more. And there's really, when do you find that cutoff time? So,
Right.
if you're into that type of lifestyle, I mean, it's great because whenever I want it, we can go take off. But at the same time, my mind is always going like, how can I get to the next deal, or how can I, I got to do this. I'm always figuring out a way to work. So, it's a good balance. It's a good balance. That's what it takes.
For sure, man. And for, again, you got to have that discipline because nobody's.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have, like you said, a boss per se. You know, checking on you, or directing you, guiding you. Uh, checking up, making sure you're doing what you need to do. It comes down to you, and
Yeah. And if you don't make your calls and you don't talk to people, and your bills will still show up, but the paycheck won't be there.
right,
And that's why a lot of real estate agents start off, part time, and then when they do get into it, they find that it's not always for them because it takes a lot of effort, to get it
yeah,
going. It's like pushing a ball uphill, but once you get it to the top, man, it's all down from there. And it's a good living. You can make good money,
Yeah,
but it definitely takes effort to get it there.
for sure,
So
man. It's a process, man. Ray,
yeah.
I just want to give a quick update on the Laker game. It's Lakers
Oh,
35, Clippers 23. The Battle of Los Angeles, which we're you and I are diehard Laker fans.
yeah.
Also, also
Dodgers.
Dodgers are up 3-0 right now on Arizona. So um, just wanted to give a quick update
Yeah. So
there.
no need to watch.
So we could stay here all night and know that
Nah,
our
the
teams are.
Lakers, huh?
Oh man. Um,
Yeah,
so
man. It's never. Can't wait to go to an actual game again. Raider game or Laker game.
oh
Being a
man,
big crowd cheering
yeah,
from
I
six
know.
feet away.
So weird, man. It's crazy crap, man. It's crazy. Uh,
Crazy.
hey, so Ray, man, what's next for you then, man? You mentioned a few things here. Well, you know what? Before I ask you that, bro, what what's the forecast then for the market here in California, man? What's the 1 to 3 year forecast in your
Yeah.
opinion? What are you expecting?
Well, like we were talking, right now, the market is hot in the sense where people are buying homes, people are listing homes. I mean, earlier, I was online on my MLS, and it was today they had 632 new listings just in the last 24 hours.
632.
632 new listings.
Wow.
432 price changes. So basically, there's almost 1,000 new contracts that came on into the market. And I guess what I'm saying is there's a lot of inventory coming in. There's a lot of people putting their houses for sale or changing the price of the sale or whatnot. So there's activity going on. People are buying homes when they qualify, like we talked about. So
Hmm.
what I see or feel will occur in the next, you know, 12 months to 18 months is there's going to be a lot of people buying properties. I I personally am trying to work with investors now because I think that's the key. You're going to see there's going to be deals across the board. Residential will have deals because people will be looking to move out of state, like we talked about, or a lot of new construction. New construction is up about 14%.
Wow.
Um, so it's actually a little more than a used home or traditional home. It was a little bit higher last month, and because people aren't finding, they're not being able to get a home. People are outbidding them, so the inventory's, the demand is there. So now they're looking to buy new homes. These and the new homes are great options too, but those are priced a little high right now as well. Price of lumber is going up, and so,
I
uh,
see.
but there will be deals. I mean, the 12 months to 18 months is when you want to buy, just
Mm.
get into something. Multi-unit is key. Um, you're going to see there's going to be a lot of deals with the multi-units because you're going to have some people are trying to transition out. They got to a point where like, look, I don't want to deal with this no more. Old generation, old money. They're just like, I want to sell and move on and take my money and retire. And now you can handle, managing this 6 unit, 10 unit, 20 unit property.
Yeah.
You know, and if you want to, and that's the thing, some people say, I want to get into investing. I want to invest, in real estate. And that's great. But you got to know it comes with, there's work involved. You got to maintain the house, or the property, the units,
Yeah.
pipes break, there's termites, there's things that happen where you got to fix things. That's just part of the job, a part of the investment. But,
Right.
you also have people, you're also being able to collect rent each month off of your investment and make a return on it in most cases. So
Yeah.
um, the cash flow, and then what'll happen is if you're in it with the right mindset of 5-10 year plan, you can really position your family to be in a good financial situation in 10 years. The properties you get into now, if you maintain them properly and collect rent and obviously increase your rent each year, put a little money into them so that you can increase them. The point being is in 10 years you'll have collected the money you put down. So if you put 20% down, you'll get that back in the first 5 years, hopefully, and then the rest of it is cash flow, and you own that property. And then when the time's right, you sell it if need be, and you move on to a bigger project. That's kind of how the game is designed. So
That's awesome, man. Yeah, definitely, man. That's so you got to think long term,
yeah,
right? You're not gonna get those returns right away, generally speaking, But like you said, man, I like what you said. You put down a percentage, whatever you put down, you'll get that back, throughout the course of whatever, 5, 10 years. So man, that's
that's
why I
how
love
you
real
want to
estate.
look at it, bro. You really, a lot of
Yeah,
people like they don't understand how in real estate investment works, but it's pretty simple. You take the whatever amount, and a lot of people don't realize, you know, in real estate you're getting the most money, the most out of your money. It's actually for every $1 you can get up to $3 in real estate. So if you have $100,000, they're going to give you close to $300,000 worth of real estate. So what that means is your money goes a lot further, and so ideally you want to put a little bit of money into a property, a down payment, 20%, whatever it might be, 40 grand, 50 grand, whatever. And then your goal is not to pay that property off. Your goal is to get that down payment back. So now everything you've put into it is now you own it for free. Once you get your down payment back, you own it for free in a sense.
right,
And and then what you do is you just collect the money and the rent, until it's time to sell or move, as long as it makes sense. um, yeah, man, it's fun. It's fun to play with these numbers and see the returns. And I got some great returns right now on some properties that I own. I have some deals that I have in my pipeline that I'm waiting for investors to take advantage of. um, so that's the fun part. When I find deals, it's like, hey, I got a deal, like I got to find someone who wants this deal. you know
yeah, that's cool.
um,
That's cool. Man.
Percentage on your rate of return on your money is the key. So
Absolutely, Ray, man. That's man. I
yes.
feel I've been educated in the last hour. Thank you so
Yeah,
much. I
yeah,
hope
man.
yeah.
Hope I didn't talk too much. I like to
Oh
talk.
man. Oh man, you kidding me? You were amazing, man. Ray, where can the good people, the listeners, the viewers, where can they find you, man? If they're in the area, if your area, San Bernardino County, Inland Empire, or Southern California, where can they contact you, man? If they want to know about real estate, maybe they're looking to purchase, to list their home. Go ahead and let the people know where they can find you, man.
Right on, right on. Um, yeah, man. I have two real estate Ray. That's my Instagram. My website is tworealestateray.com. It's the number two. Um, I'm online. You can find me on Google, Empire States. But yeah, man. I'd be glad to help answer questions. A lot of people don't realize too, like it costs them nothing to talk to a real estate agent, as a buyer,
Right,
so you can call, talk, answer questions, get lists of homes. There's no fees involved for that. As a buyer, the agent works for you, but they get paid from the seller. So, you know, contact
right.
me. I love answering questions. I'm here to help. I'm in Fontana or in Rancho. I'm available because I
Awesome.
don't have. I stay home and watch my kids.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's fun, bro. I'm here. To Real Estate Ray.
All right, man.
Let me know, man.
Awesome. Yeah, no, hey Ray, thank you so much, man, for being here tonight on Profile Pod TV, taking time out of your day. Yeah, like I said, man, it's been a great education, informational conversation. I know people
Nice.
they're going to take something from here, from you here, and you know, again, ladies and gentlemen, if you need to, you have questions, talk to Ray, contact him. He is more than available, more than happy to, like he said, just said, enlighten you, talk to you, maybe
That's right.
talked about your scenario, your situation. Everybody's is different. So don't be afraid to reach out to him. Uh, Ray, man, again, thank you so much, man. I know I'm gonna be talking shop with you here shortly, you know, and talking about maybe some my brother and I want to invest in the future in maybe like a 4 unit, something like that. So,
Yeah, for sure, man. That's the way to go. I'll help you for sure. You know I will.
for sure.
Man, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I look forward to talking with you. Helping people out, and it's fun. It's good times.
Absolutely, man. No, thank you. You're always welcome back. Maybe we'll bring you in, man, for like a little real estate episode every few months or so, or and get an update on real estate and what have you. So,
Yeah,
thanks again, man,
I'll
for
do some
being here.
trainings, whatever, bro. I show people how to break down investments. Show people how to qualify. Whatever it takes. I
There we
got you.
go, man. Now you're giving me ideas, man.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate it, man.
Real estate investing 101.
That's right. Hey, they stopped making land a long time ago, right?
That's right, man. Stop
Oh
making
man,
land, but now they have enough wood to build houses on it. So
there you go. All right,
that's
Ray. Hey,
it,
man.
man.
Thank you so much for being here, brother. We'll be talking soon. Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard Mr. Ray Rodriguez, Empire Estates Real Estate out in Rancho Cucamonga, California, San Bernardino County, Southern California. Hit him up, contact him, reach out. If you have questions, he's more than willing to talk to you.
That's right.
As for myself, I want to thank everybody here for checking in and viewing this episode of Profile Pod TV. It's always a pleasure being here every week. We're here every Thursday. I forgot to mention earlier, well, maybe I did. If you want to be on the show, let us profile you. Let us showcase you. If you're an entrepreneur, business owner, podcaster, if you juggle, bowling pins on a unicycle, we want you to come on the show. We want you. So contact me, hit me up. The information's there on the ticker.
Freaks.
And
We're looking for freaks.
That's right. Sideshows, right?
Sideshow and freak.
Let's get you on Profile Pod TV. Don't forget to subscribe. Click that red button on profile on YouTube. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at Profile Pod TV. At 90s Galore. I'm always interacting with the audience, the viewers. I know I mentioned last week we're gonna have some contests coming up, and I didn't forget about that. Some giveaways, some fun stuff. So I haven't forgotten about that. So as for Ray Rodriguez, I'm your host, Andy Anatomical. Again, thank you for being here, and if you're on the replay, thank you so much for being here and tuning in. We'll see you guys next week. And always remember to take it easy.
Easy.